Okay.
Beautiful. Emma, are you ready to do a spiritual thought?
Yeah, absolutely.
So would Danny, would you give the opening prayer?
He fell off the screen, so I'll give a prayer as well.
Oh, beautiful. Here we go.
Our Father in heaven, we thank thee for this day. We thank thee for our blessings, and we are grateful for the wonderful opportunity we have to be students at BYU Idaho and to be studying. We pray for the Spirit to be with us and that we may be efficient and getting our work done. And we pray for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Of course. So this, as we're preparing to leave Jackson, we're moving next week, actually.
Whoa.
And so as I'm going to be a partner in a wood shop building custom furniture. And so
wow, and that's a lot of action in the last week, or has this been going on a while?
No, this has been building up for a while. And so we're just finishing up here and moving that way, and we're going over the different parts of being in Jackson in my head. And it's a different community. It's the first time I've really associated closely with people of, as bad as this is going to sound, a different economic status than myself. I grew up in northern Wyoming in a little tiny farm town. Have some construction workers and some oil rig monkeys, but for the most part, everyone's pretty. The school, I think just about anyone that went to the school qualified for their free lunch programs. Everyone's right at or just over the poverty line. Pretty poor community. And so Jackson been the first place that's been different, and I was thinking about the different blessings it has been in my life to be here. I've been able to. It's allowed me to finish school when I'm not going to have any debt when I leave school.
Yeah.
Which is going to be huge for in the future. To not have student loans to have to be repaying back. And I started thinking about blessings and how the Lord blesses us and why the Lord blesses us, because I don't really buy into the idea that the Lord just gives blessings based on on following commandments. Sometimes He certainly does, but sometimes I think He blesses us because we ask for the blessing. We ask specifically for something, and so the Lord blesses us with that, as long as we're doing our best. And my best example of that is this last week. One of the ways we end up being as frugal as we are is most of our meat. Hey, turn it off. Just teasing. One of our main, and we look at it as an income thing, is I go hunting every fall, and then we don't have to buy any meat for the rest of the year. We buy some chicken occasionally, but we don't need to buy a hamburger or anything like that. And hunting to me, before my mission, it was I wanted to get the biggest deer and biggest elk or whatever. When I was on my mission, I came to the conclusion that hunting for the sport of it is actually blatantly immoral. To kill something just because you're killing it because it's fun to go out and hunt it's an immoral action. And I came to that conclusion on my mission. And I still hunt every year, but I hunt now specifically because we need the food to support my family. And what's that?
It's an entirely different
outlook.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so this last hunting season, this year I already killed my elk this year. And I went out early that morning. I wasn't looking at I didn't think I was going to get anything. Never been hunting in that area. I was just kind of going to go scout around. And I happened, as I walk up, I cut across a grizzly bear track, which always makes you a little bit more nervous to shoot something, because you may not get any of the meat in the packing process of packing it back out of the mountain. And then I kept going up, and I happened to see my elk, and I was able to harvest that animal. But I thought about it, and the night before, we made sure that we were completely up on our tithing. And then I prayed before I left my house for protection and for success, and prayed before I left my car, prayed as I walked around up there. And I think I feel comfortable in directly attributing our success this year in hunting to the Lord's blessings, and because we asked for that blessing, and because we were doing the best we could in our lives at the time. We were just trying really hard to be worthy. And so I guess my message is that if we're doing what we can, sometimes we get this idea that the Lord just gives us blessings because we're being righteous. But I think a lot of the times we need to ask for those blessings. I have a testimony that if we ask for blessings from the Lord usually, it seems in my life, has come through. Maybe not how I thought he was going to, or when I thought he was going to, but he always comes through. So I say that in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you for sharing that. We learned that lesson in the book of Ether when the brother of Jared goes before Christ and says to Christ, we're going to be in complete darkness in these boats. And Christ says, well, what would you have me do? And he said, he took out those rocks. So it's not only that he asked for the blessing, but he was prepared for it. So I think that, you went out prepared.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay. Has Danny gotten back to us?
Not yet. I'm going to send him another invite right now, but he hasn't got back to us yet.
Okay. All right.
Hold on for a second.
Oh, sure.
We lost him again.
Come on.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and start what we can. So
you just dropped 10 years shaving off your
yeah.
You don't even look old enough to be in the class.
Yeah, I love my beard, but it's kind of fun. I never keep it for very long. I usually change things up pretty often.
All right. So, does BzzAgent do, and what need is being met? Danny, you want to take the first one?
Where are we at?
We are right here. We're
Excel?
just starting out.
Yep. What does BzzAgent do? Or which one?
Yes, number 3. So this one right here.
What about the market fit? I don't know. I saw that they didn't really have to build anything. And
the gift.
Where am I? They didn't really have to build any buildings or train people. I mean, the agents would just test products, and so they just, I guess they did stuff with the pricing, the placement, the promotion, and distribution. So they sort of push their forecast even further than expected.
So they're a marketing company, and they utilize the word of mouth model and what they do is they take their advertisers, send whatever it is that they're trying to sell to all of their reviewers, who then try it out and then get up and do reviews. Okay, so so the need that's being met, I think that probably the need that's being met here is that advertisers are losing money because people aren't watching as much TV. We've got streaming that goes on, and we don't have the high level of advertisement that we used to, and people just don't believe it anymore. So I think that the need that's getting met through BzzAgent is that they're getting products into the hands of people who will share, bloggers and such, and regular people, And then that's how they do the advertising, because last I read, I think it was like 82%, it was in the high 80s, I think, of people would take a recommendation from a friend before they would an advertisement.
Can I add something? I
Please.
thought the company had an opportunity to create a blitzkrieg for sales. So, because there were so many people talking about the product that it would spark, a blitzkrieg and the population of people wanting to go out and buy all this products, these books, and like these services that these people were trying out. So that's just what I wanted to see. So that opportunity would become a strength of theirs later on.
Mm-hmm. Well, this has definitely demonstrated a demand. I mean, so, people who, you have a large segment of the community of consumers who are willing to purchase based on recommendation. So this kind of demand becomes very profitable. And based on the numbers that we're looking at, right? Was that in what they were charging? So on page 5, the cost of an ad campaign. So they were bringing approximate gross margin for 70%. Operating expenses, they were down to 25%, which is still very healthy.
I thought it felt kind of low, since they were actually, staffing people at 75,000, and they were only net profiting 55,000. So it kind of felt like they were they weren't doing too good to me. But I may be reading the numbers wrong.
Well, I think that the other thing that we need to look at, we're talking about 75,000 for one ad campaign. I could see where that could be high. It's hard to know because we don't have a lot of the more specifics to support it.
And they ran in the 200,000s, like the campaign.
Yeah, 220,000
for like 12 weeks or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's a little bit different though, because of the kind of campaign it is. I mean, if you were to look at like a newspaper ads, it's different. The campaign itself, it seems like they don't have as much of a net margin, but because it's the most effective means of advertising for anybody, I think it actually works out well for them. I mean, if you're making 25% profit, that's not bad on one campaign, and you're doing 25% profit, and you can duplicate that how many times? Because you have 1,000 agents. I actually think they're doing pretty good. I actually like the margin of 25%. I think it's a pretty healthy margin of profit.
So we're saying the margin's good, but then what do you think about like them, their compensation policy, about them giving out bonuses to certain people? Don't you think that's gonna like stir up conflict within the employees when they find out that certain people are going to be getting bonuses and others aren't?
Are you talking about
disrupt the environment of the company?
Are you talking about when they do the financing?
I was just saying that like the net margin, like that was a good net margin, but I just felt like their policies, some of their policies were off, even though their margins were good. Like they, I still didn't see eye to eye with like some of their later moves, like what they wanted in the term sheet.
Right. Well, I think that's kind of a separate issue than what we're looking at here. And I definitely don't agree with the bonuses myself. And that came up. Okay, but let's go on, because we'll come back to that. What makes BzzAgent successful?
It's people. It's not
communication policy they have implemented. They
Yeah.
seem to work a lot, but they don't really write up their, I don't know what they call it, when they go out and talk to someone. I read somewhere that they don't actually write it down all the time, document it. So they could probably address that a little bit, but they're probably losing some percentage somewhere.
I think what makes them so successful is communication. I mean, advertising and marketing is at its core communication, and you're trying to communicate with your potential market base and trying to convince them to come and purchase a product. And the most effective is word of mouth, but word of mouth is difficult to use because it relies on needing a lot of people to. If I was to go build the jewelry boxes I'm going to sell, it's difficult for me to do word of mouth communication on it because 10 people have bought those before. So my word of mouth communication isn't going to stretch very far. It doesn't open into a massive potential market base. But where the way the way BzzAgent's doing it is it actually works really well because they have 1,000 agents that they give them the product so that they can review it. And that is hugely successful because you're able to communicate with a larger potential market base. And so you deliver greater dividends to your clients who then refer you to other people and then can bring more business to you. At least that's what I thought. Why I thought they were.
Well, and
because they're so successful at marketing everyone else's product.
And they also, where they position everything is key.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like they'd have
Exactly, yeah.
onto Amazon and, and I got to tell you, I will buy, and even if I don't know somebody, I do all my shopping based on reviews.
Word of mouth.
When I buy a new type of product.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And I'm very detailed when I do mine. Okay, so let's go to pages 5 and then we need to go to Exhibit 5. So as a group, pull out the case and discuss Table A and Table 5 right here. And let's work through it. So when we talk about how profitable BzzAgent is, if we take the $55,000 net profit and multiplied that times the 120 customers that they have identified on Exhibit 3, even if they just did one campaign a year, we're looking at $6.6 million in just profit. And that's, of course, real vague because we have to go through the numbers. But that's pretty impressive if that's just one 12-week campaign.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, that's good. Okay,
so net income minus loss. So right now they're bringing in $879,000, right? As of 9/30/2005, with an expected of $3.1 million about a year later.
Right.
So they're looking at 3 times. So how profitable are they? How do you answer that question? They're profitable, but how profitable?
A little bit. Almost feels a little bit arbitrary.
To the point to where they don't know what to do they don't know what to do with their opportunity. So they need to find someone else to partner with to lead them in a direction. So I don't know. I mean, they're profitable in a sense, but I mean, to a certain point. I mean, to an extent, and then it's just if they do this or if they do that, then they could be better. But I don't really see how you can really put how you can put a value on something when it's gonna depreciate. But I don't see how that's gonna depreciate either, if it's still gonna make you money in the long run. So that's a tough question, yeah.
It is. All right, so if we calculated the growth rate from the beginning of 2002 to 2004, which we have that number there. So we're looking at, we have a loss of 67,000. This is thousands, right? Are we in millions? Do we know here?
Probably millions.
I would guess thousands. Because if they're not, then they're projecting for 2006 over $1 billion.
$3 billion.
Yeah, I'm guessing millions personally, but I don't know. Or thousands, I mean.
Yeah. All right. So then we've got a loss And then at the end there, we're at 880,000.
Yeah.
So 8.
That's a pretty remarkable flip for 4 years.
What are we looking at from 02 to 06?
02 to the September of 05.
So we're looking at a growth rate of approximately 202,000 per year. That's an average out. I mean, obviously we can see right where they're growing. So they were 33,000 in the hole, then there are 18,000 black. So we've now got 50,000 in growth, and then another 200,000 in growth, and then 4 times that, well, 3 times that afterwards. So do you think this is a satisfying growth rate?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. And the operating margins, I think we just talked about that a minute ago. Does anyone want to say anything else about it?
What would be interesting to see is when they expand, so they bring in this additional VC funding, what are they, and they expand with it, is their margin going to remain the same? If their margin goes down, then they're in trouble. I think so long as they're maintaining over 20%, I think they'd be fine. But if they're dropping down to 10%, then I think they start running into problems. But that's 2 cents on it.
I haven't run the numbers like that. I haven't played around with them like that.
Okay. So if BzzAgent is growing and profitable, why are they raising money now? I'm thinking the same thing.
Right?
Yeah, I recognize that. What was it? Callahan? What was his name? Kavanaugh. That Kavanaugh is pushing this, but I feel that money has a role, in making decisions and moving forward. To me, the only time we would ever borrow money or seek investment is if we're looking to do an important expansion or if we're in trouble. And based on how they're growing right now, it just doesn't seem to me like it's the ideal thing, because I think that they can succeed with VC funds. I mean, they won't end up with as much bonuses, and they may not grow as fast, and they won't get their bonuses. But at the end of the day, they said, they don't have any dilution in their stocks, and they have no debt and additional, people telling you what to do.
Yeah, I don't actually like the idea of going for funding at all. Mm-hmm. You just grew by made 3 times your profit margin. They can keep hiring more agents at the profit they're making.
But keep in mind, they're not hiring agents.
Yeah.
I actually went in the program and I looked at it. Agents don't really get paid.
Yeah, because if they grow too fast, they're probably going to hire the wrong, unqualified people, agents, and then
so agents don't get paid at all.
Reviews and
yeah. No, agents, they get free stuff.
I want to be an agent.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So you get free stuff. And then you do get some points that you can purchase other things for. But this is not a cash model.
Then why would you ever need to get the VC funding? If you're making these profit rates and you're not.
If they don't do the VC, if they stay with their own money and grow like that, then they're able to get their bonuses. This is opposite of what she was saying a little bit ago.
Yeah, but that they're trying to take a short run and make a whole of killing on a bonus instead of grow organically and keep all your equity. I would stay out of the
VCs. Yeah, that'd be best.
Yeah, and I don't know
if
we're even really told what the purpose of the money is. Okay, so So we're opening our spreadsheet. Compare the 50 million valuation on a 15 mil investment. So here we've got, here's the pre-value valuation. We've got a 15-minute investment. All this here. Anyone have any comment? Let me go back and see what it says. Open your spreadsheet. Compare the 50 million valuation on a 15,000.
Compare what?
Well, so we've got a $10,000 increase in valuation and only a $5 million increase on investment.
Right.
They're investing. They're saying it's worth more and offering less proportionately. I think if that's what we're looking at.
But well, like in the VCs, they get the employees. They get more ownership per share, don't they? Because you get 17%.
They do. They get more
option pool.
Yep, and they get more. Yeah, they get more stock on it,
and no bonuses. So in turn, it helps out the company because like those top players don't get the bonuses, and then the employees actually get. So the bonuses like kind of sort of transfer into the option pool if you look at it. And from that sense.
Well, but it doesn't. Remember that the option pool is just for the employees. The bonuses would have been for the original investors. Is that right?
Yeah.
These are for the EEs, right? The option pool is my understanding.
I thought it was for the seed fund investors.
I probably read the definition wrong.
All right. Let's using your spreadsheet, discuss the math you use to calculate your answers. Okay, so did anyone have any problems? I probably don't want to spend a lot of time on that. Does anyone have any problems with their calculations?
No.
It's basic Excel.
And then I think they had the solutions too.
They did.
Yeah.
If you needed them, they had those there. And I mean, I was able to just sit there and write the numbers down and figure out the formulas.
I didn't know what to do. I was like poking, and I found it. So
yeah, based on
the solutions help too.
Other accounting stuff, I figured it out. But
okay, so I have to go in about 15 minutes, guys. So I'm gonna.
Let's hit our then.
All right. So how do the growth expectations affect your view on which term sheet is more favorable? Well, it looks like we're going to have exceptional growth, right? So that's what we were looking at based on number 5. In a year, we're at 5 to 2006. We're looking to grow 3 times that amount.
Yeah.
So based on that and based on the terms, are we feeling like it makes sense to go with the VC term?
It's a little more ethical, I'd say. I don't know. I'd go with them because it's the only way to get the partnership.
Well, no, it's not. Because remember, this is right here. This is the company that's offering. This is the term sheet that they're looking at the other 10 investors for. And this is the 11th investor who came in and said, yeah, we're willing to do it, but it needs to be under these terms. So right now we're looking at, it's not a question of whether they should or shouldn't. It's a question of which one is a better decision.
Okay? Right.
What tab are you on? Are you on the 3rd tab?
I am on number 2. Can you not see my screen?
Hardly, a little bit.
Okay, so essentially they're going to get 5 million more, but at the end of the day, they're going to end up with less stock.
They do have a higher value at exit.
Not by much. We're talking at 707. You're talking about stock prices?
No. And this is back on tab 2 at the investor return requirements. If they go with the 40 million valuation, when at the value of BzzAgent and exit, that's 185 million, and if they take the VC, it's at 241 million.
Maybe, but I feel like that is.
But that's.
Just I don't want to give away any percentage of the company.
Yeah.
Like controlling shares.
I think it's just because we have the additional stock in there, which is why. I feel like this is an artificial number and it's not real. Because at the end of the day, we're still sitting at a 30% rate of return. But this is so much higher because there's more stock out there.
Right.
Because they're actually not getting the buyback with the VC.
Exactly. So if we come over here to number 3 and we identify right here, we've got 7 million shares and then versus 9 million.
Yeah, there's 2 million different, which is a huge number.
Which is why it is we're looking at a different value there. I mean, unfortunately, the way the business works is the less stock you have out there, the harder it is to evaluate you.
Right.
But so while they may not have the same valuation on paper, at the end of the day, they got more control and they have less stock out there. And especially because right here, what they're looking to do under their term is to buy back more stock, which is why this number here looks different because they're actually buying stock back.
Right.
The whole valuation is just a crap shot. Okay. On number 3, compare your responses, if there are differences. I think we just did that. Why is the price per share very close to the VC term sheet, but not the current? Why are they different? I don't actually know the answer to that. You know, right here, they're about the same.
Right. I mean, it's only a penny off.
But you set the price, right?
Say again?
We set the price. So I think that either way, they've set the price here, and that's why it's the same. Because
right.
They're not trading, which means it's not a market demand.
Right. It's a arbitrary number that they're just deciding on.
Mm-hmm.
To start at. It's
like a comfort. Is it like a comfort? Okay, it's more arbitrary number.
So we talked about the values of it because there's less stock out there, even though the number is the same. Okay, class prep worksheet and discuss responses. Okay, let me go. See if I can. Okay, based on your analysis of the BzzAgent term sheet and the VC term sheet, has your opinion of which sheet to accept changed? Which proposal would you recommend that Balter accept?
So based on my analysis, I originally go ahead.
Oh, I said the one with the less catch. Because when are they ever going to get? When are they ever going to become reputable? If no one ever gives them a shot, and I mean, BzzAgent's a good company for that.
So you think they ought to stay with the original term sheet?
I think so. If that's with the firm A, the one that was less experienced in the catch.
Okay. Well, so we're just looking general right now because when we get to the next section, we're going to talk about which of the ones he should take. So the question is should he stay with his own term sheet or should he accept the VC term sheet?
I said he should stay with his own.
I agree. Okay, the VC term sheet. Go ahead, Danny.
I disagree. I like the VC. I don't like that they're giving themselves bonus. I didn't like that.
I think they're going to do that regardless.
So I'm going to go against them.
They're going to get them on both sides. They're going to get the bonus on both sides.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I completely
maybe might have missed that part.
No, we talk about this down here. We'll get to that in number 3. Okay, so the VC term sheet describes a more investor-friendly board. How much valuation would you give up in the VC term in exchange for the board structure? So for me, the whole board thing was not that big of a deal. I think that both boards are going to want to make money. By having their board, the VC term sheet does provide them one additional that they don't get to negotiate. So under the BzzAgent, they have the same number of boards. The difference is that instead of the VC making the full choice, the VC and BzzAgent make it. So I don't know that I would negotiate that out. It's not that big a deal for me.
I didn't. When I was writing it down, I was like, I don't care at all.
Yeah.
About this.
In fact, it kind of took me out of the zone trying to figure out why this is a weird question.
Yeah.
Okay. BzzAgent term sheet described a planned distribution of approximately $3 million to management and current investors immediately prior to the transaction. What is your opinion of the merits of such a distribution?
Stupid.
So I put on that there's a dilution stock. $3 million is a lot of money that could be used to forward the company. Go on, Danny. I interrupted. Sorry, man.
Which one is it? Which question?
Number 3 right here. So what's the merits of giving the money?
I have no idea where that's at.
It's
it
in
goes
the
against
Excel
my
file
beliefs
at the end.
on the compensation. I'm still with that compensation policy, you know, so I don't merits of such a distribution. I think the compensation policy needs to be in place for every business. This will cause less tension and more times of peace amongst EEs. Employee environment is key. Employee environment is key when it comes to building a company, and different wages, despite positions, will only build a gap between individual workers. This may lead to a decrease in productivity within the company, leading to increase in expenses to correct said problem. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, what does that mean, the merits of such distribution? I just saw that it'll cause a whole bunch of problems.
Exactly.
So and it'll cost them more money.
There really is none. It's money that's not
the merits
used well.
I think there is some merits if you're one of the people receiving a bonus. For the individuals, as a company, there's no merits. As a company, it's just a greedy little grab. And if I was a VC, that's how I would view it. If I was a VC giving money and they were immediately going to distribute $3 million to the management, I'd be like, I want you to use the money to make the company better, not to line your own pockets.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to the BzzAgent B. So at this point, we have to make a decision. So has everyone read the raising capital, the B section? Because it's pretty much just the same exact thing that's in the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I skimmed through it. I didn't spend a lot of time on it, though.
Okay, well, we've got firm A, firm B, C, and D. And so let me just go up here, because I'd like to highlight it for you. I'd like you to see what, i.e. my perspective. Here's a second here. Oh, let's bring it in. Okay. So we've got the ranking criteria. We've got firms right here, A, B, C, and D. Now, it doesn't really identify to us in this one. In the actual case study, it tells us which one was the one that had their own term sheet. But in this one, it doesn't necessarily do that. So based on this, the question is, what would we go with? So I actually chose, firm A. Firm B, real quick, before I go into, firm B was mean. They were mean. Right here, the partners berated Kavanaugh. While they were enthusiastic and helpful in fundraising, he had not finished a full set of projections. It just didn't look like they were. He kept saying in there that he was looking for someone to connect with. There was no connection with this company at all. So it seemed to be that it was important. They were fairly new. I think Danny said that really didn't matter. They've had early successes, and they're based in Boston, which was something else that was really important for them, is that they'd be local. But he was also impressed with their technology. So there was a lot of pluses in there. I think the thing that downed it was that they were mean.
Yeah.
He was interested in that.
Yeah, I actually went with A as well. And the reason I went with A, they didn't have a real strong track record yet. But I liked that they knew what they were talking about, history. But more importantly than that, they were honest and respectful. And I felt
Yeah,
like B, they were honest, but they were mad at, it was almost like they were mad at him for stepping out of line. Almost like, this isn't the way we do this, and you play by our rules, and we're mad at you for making us play by yours.
All right,
And
Danny, what about
just a spiteful position to start from.
It is, and it creates all kinds of antagonism, harassment issues in the workplace, which no one performs well with.
Right.
Creates divides.
I went with A. I liked them just because they were new, and maybe they'd be able to do something good. I just kept it simple.
All right. Well then, so for this assignment, we need to create a Word document to state our decision and explain our reasoning. So what I'd like to do is, if it's all right with you, I'd like to go ahead and just create an initial document. I will send it to you, Danny, and then you beef it up, meaning why it is you feel like we should keep with that. And then send it to Ammon. Ammon will beef it up to add, anything else that he feels needs to be added. And then I'll send out a final copy. And once everyone approves it, we can submit it. How does that sound?
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Yeah, right here, he just wants one Word document from the group.
Okay.
I like the part where it says this should be a brief document. And it will be. So I'm thinking it's going to make the statement, and then we'll just do some bullets as to why. And we'll just make sure that everyone's on them. Okay, I'm gonna summarize this. We ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Does anyone have anything else they want to say?
No, let's go quick. I don't understand. You have to leave, so let's hurry.
Okay, so let's sum it up. So BzzAgent is a marketing tool that it utilizes word of mouth marketing, reviews from those who've tried the product. And they are successful at it. Word of marketing is huge. As a group, we took a look. We determined that they are profitable. And based on the projections over the next year, based on Exhibit 5, that they're going to triple in size. We think that's an excellent revenue growth. And if we also felt like they're raising money now is to expand and to do more. But we do believe that they could succeed without VC funds. It may not be the same rate of growth, but they'll still be fine without, having to give up so much more stock. We looked at we opened our spreadsheet. We looked at the 50 million valuation and for the 50 million investment. We decided, we looked at all of our calculations and how do growth expectations on which. So based on the growth expectations, I don't know that we really thought that it changed our view on the term sheets. I think that we were split on that as far as two of us felt that we should stay with Biz, the original term sheet, and one thought that we should go ahead and go with the VC. But I'm not sure that there was much impact on how it is that we saw how it was valuated on which way to go. We looked at our capitalization tables. And it seemed like we were good with where the numbers came from. And then the price per share was set. It looks like it was the same. And I don't know that that really impacts us as far as a founder or an investor. Though I do know that for angels, sometimes they get a different price. I think that this was fine where we're at because they were a little bit different. They didn't have the typical investment processes that they've gone through. We went through the class prep worksheet. We discussed each of the questions. Let's go through that real quick. We decided we talked about which one we should go with. The term sheet describes investor-friendly board. I don't think that we thought the board was really that big of a deal because we're talking about one difference in board member. For the merits of distribution, we thought that it was very helpful for the investors and the founder, but not for the overall, wasn't a lot of merit for the VC perspectives because this is their money going into pockets and not using it to actually grow the business. As our group, we all unanimously decided to go with firm A, because even though they were new and they didn't have a lot of reputation, they were located close. They had a strong connection. BzzAgent had a strong. They were helpful and kind, and most importantly, that they were honest. All right, that's it, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Thank you. I'll send out the video.
Alrighty.
Okay, and I will send out the brief write-up.
Okay, I'll look for it.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Have a good one. See ya.
Take care.
Bye.